Hello everyone, welcome back to the game and welcome back to modern Skyblock 3. How are you doing everybody? So, today we are going to be headed to Mars. We have a tier 2 rocket, so we're capable of going to Mars. We could create a space station over Mars. It would require these materials. We don't need to create a space station yet. We could create a space station if we wanted to. I mean, it might be worth... I mean, we're on a skyblock, so there's the only difference between a skyblock and a space station is really that a space station requires oxygen. So I don't think we're going to bother unless it asks us to. But we're going to be launching down to Mars today because we have to find some Desh ingots, because the thing that is kind of restraining us from advancing at the moment, the main thing, like we've got a few things like the fusion reactor, a little bit of blood magic, a little bit of things that, but the main thing that's sort of holding us back at the moment is that we need to complete Galacticraft. And the reason we need to complete Galacticraft is because we kind of need to complete Galacticraft. So there's a little bit of radiation that's leaking through our suit here. So we don't have enough radiation protection in our spacesuit. That's mildly concerning. Like, our spacesuit is definitely... We're not wearing a spacesuit. That would be why. Gimme. Gimme. Time to go. We're not wearing a spacesuit. That would be why. Where's my spacesuit gone? Where did my spacesuit go? Why am I not wearing a spacesuit? I bet all of you people watching the last episode are like, he's not wearing his spacesuit. Why? Is it called spacesuit? Yeah, it's called spacesuit. So if I go into here and go space. No, we've got our tier 1 rocket and we've got our satellite. Is it? Where's my... Here's my space armor. Wait, why can't I equip this? Oh, do I have to equip it? Yes. I have to equip it on my main body. I can't equip it as... Yeah. The higher the tier of the suit, the slower the radiation gain will be. Yeah. If I look at Galacticraft, there is like stuff you can wear under your armor, isothermal stuff. I don't think this provides any protection from radiation though. Thermal padding and isothermal. Pretty sure this doesn't provide any protection from radiation, which is why we need the radiation protection equipment. Hasn't asked us to make a tier 2 suit. Yeah, the tier 2 suit comes here preparing for Mercury, I believe. So theoretically, we should now be okay to go back. And we shouldn't be gaining radiation because we're wearing a suit with radiation padding. Very low. Okay, so very low radiation instead of low radiation. Okay. Now, if memory serves, Desh is not a surface thing. Desh is an underground thing. Now, the other thing we need to do is also find the Mars dungeons and go and defeat the Mars dungeons because we... because we do need... we do need the next pattern, the pattern for the tier 3 rocket. So we will need to find Mars dungeons, which again is probably going to be a case of kind of flying around and just looking for the caves in the floor. Shouldn't be too hard because for the most part, it's pretty obvious when you fly over one. There should be a sort of sizable dark patch on the map. You saw it on the moon. It shouldn't be too difficult to find. Now, there are also Martian villages and everything else, but I think for the most part, what we are looking for is we're going to be looking for Desh to start with. And Desh is going to be underground. So I think probably what we're going to do is grab a little bit of ambrosia and then start our way downwards. And just see if we can find doesn't seem like there's any obvious ores down here. Might need to turn my coin off for this. So we throw this lot away. We could look to see if we can get Desh from Mars cobblestone, maybe? Don't think we can process Desh out of anything. I'm also going to have to look into building a decontamination arch or something. So let's have a look at Desh. See if we can get Desh any other way. We have Desh ore. Then we have Desh ingots. How do we get Desh ingots? We can make unrefined Desh, which is crushed out of Desh ore. Desh dust, which is crushed out of Desh ore. Yeah, it's all Desh ores and basically Desh. So we're going to have to find some way of getting Desh. And I didn't see any when I went mining just then. Now, I'm not 100% sure how common Desh is. Aha, this is an interesting little... So now we've actually got like a little bit of a cave system. Ah, Desh ore. There we go. So there's 3 Desh. Now we're going to need a lot more than 3 Desh, I'm pretty sure. So let's continue on our way and see if we can't find a bit more Desh. We're definitely going to have to do something about our radiation when we get back, though. Because we're obviously gaining quite a bit of radiation. Which we don't want to be doing. Because for whatever reason, radiation is bad. Would you imagine it? Radiation being bad? Never would have thought it myself, but... Ha, there's some Desh. Okay, so once you get into a cave system, Desh seems reasonably common. But let's just turn our magnet back on to make sure we are gaining the Desh we find. Not sort of dropping it on the floor. The magnet sort of negates the whole problem of low gravity that you sometimes get on the Galacticraft planets. Because low gravity will make things fly away from you faster than your kind of pickup mechanic will work. So sometimes you can get a little bit stuck. How are we doing for Desh? 23. We're probably going to need, I would guess, probably about 30 or so. Because we're going to need to build a rocket using Desh reinforced plates if we want to get to... if we want to get to the next planet. We're going to need to use Desh reinforced plates. So we're definitely going to have a more of a look around. Looks like the mountains are kind of hollow, and this is where we're going to be finding most of our Desh, I would say. Although it does seem to be kind of patchy in where ores spawn. Because this part of the Mars doesn't appear to have any ores at all. Which is mildly concerning. Ah, there we go. We're getting into an area where we've got ores spawning. Copper. And nothing. Yeah, the radiation is really getting a little bit out of control, which is mildly concerning because it hasn't asked me to make a better radiation suit yet. And if I need a better radiation suit, I kind of wish it had told me, because I didn't know. And I do have like radiation protection inclusive in my suit. A yellow or a green? Yellow. So let's see, where are we going to find more dash? There's a hole. Does this lead down into a dash cavern? No. No, it doesn't look like that leads into a dash cavern. We've got some holes over here that we can see. Thankfully we have protection from the zombies and the skeletons and the creepers. Ah, so we do have some ores down here. What have we got? We've got tin, we've got copper, we've got iron. No dash though, which is a disappointment. Ah, there's some dash, I believe. Ah, nice little pile of dash over here. So, what we're up to, 37. That should be a decent amount of dash. I don't want to stick around here too much, because it looks like there is a... Oh, there's dash down there. It looks like there is a pretty significant radiation problem. But then I'm going to have to come back here and deal with and find the dungeons, because I haven't seen a single dungeon yet. That's one thing that I think really does need to be addressed in Galacticraft. It's like the whole spending hours and hours exploring a planet to find a single dungeon and then only having a 50% chance of actually getting the schematic you need is, I think, just a little bit too harsh, really. Now, I don't think on Mars there's a 50% of getting the schematic you need, because I think there's only one schematic available on Mars. But even so, it still seems a little bit harsh. But the dungeons are so few and far between. I think the dungeon markers are roughly the same for both. So I think it shouldn't be too hard to find a dungeon once we have a nice big area explored. So I think both, either way around, it's just a giant sort of funnel almost down to bedrock that's dead straight. It's like a dead straight dig right down to bedrock. But either way, it looks like we are going to have to head home because our radiation protection is nowhere near good enough for Mars, it would seem. So, we're going to head home using our amulet, our return home charm. And if we just go pop, that should take us straight back home. Now, we did get a nice big pile of dash, which is brilliant. We can cook that up into dash ingots. There we go. So we got 57 dash in the end. That's actually really good. I probably should have done it with Silk Touch. Silk Touch probably would have been better. It probably would have gotten us more dash in the end, but not a problem. Oh, is that why my radiation suit was invalid? Because I was wearing the... I didn't think I was wearing the dragon chest plate. Is that what... That's probably why my radiation suit was invalid. Basic decontamination unit requires lapis lazulite, requires a filter, which is string and paper by the looks of it. Iodized salt in a basic crystallizer with liquid crystal water bucket. You can obtain this fluid on Sirius or Europa. Okay, so I need to go to Sirius or Europa. And we need compressed mercury and volcanic volcanic ingots from Jupiter or Io. Okay, so we need to go to basically all the planets. Okay, that's minorly concerning. Apparently sleep can help with rad poisoning, so I'm just going to go and throw myself in bed and see. Sleeping, decontamination units, anti-rad drinks to help reverse the damage. Ah, so that does reduce our rad level. Okay, so I'm going to have to sleep regularly, basically, to drop our rad level down. But I think the reason I was getting rad poisoning is because I was wearing the wrong thing. Yep, fully charged. Excellent. 57 dash. So that is good. We've got the dash now. So now what it wants us to do is to make a tier 3 schematic, which requires us to find a tier 2 dungeon on Mars. I wonder if I make a teleport anchor. So I have a teleport anchor. If I make a return home charm, so if I made a different charm, because the one I've got at the moment is a return home charm with a pink gem. So if I was to make a different return home charm, say a yellow return home charm, not bound, right click on a teleporter. Okay, so I could set 2 teleporters. So what I could do is I could put you in here and call you Overworld, which requires me to grab some experience from our experience depositor. Where is my... There's my XP rod. Overworld. And then I could call you Mars. And then I could set up a teleport anchor on Mars to take me back. So what I need to do is I need to basically fly to Mars again, and then I can teleport backwards and forwards between the two. Now, fingers crossed, now that I'm wearing my full radiation gear, and I'm just going to make sure I wear my full radiation gear by doing that, fingers crossed, that will actually be enough to protect me from the radiation. Got 200 ambrosia. What about pizza? Yeah, I've got 1,000 pizzas. That'll do. So actually what I can do is I can use the different gems to basically set up teleporters everywhere, because teleport anchors aren't particularly expensive. Now there won't be two-way teleporters, but that won't matter because I'll have a teleportation charm for each one. I could even have a separate bag just for my teleportation charms and just teleport from world to world. So I'm only going to need to fly to each world once, which is going to be really good actually. That can be a really good way of dealing with that. So now begins the finding of the Mars dungeons, which is going to be fun. Now, I think they've got a bigger entrance than the ones on the moon. I think they've got quite a distinct entrance. So I think what we'll do is we will have a little bit of a look around. I will probably pause the recording here, and I will probably come back once we have found one. Because this is literally just going to be me running around on Mars. Medium radiation consumed. Wait, what? Why am I consuming medium radiation now? Why am I subject to 5% radiation? I'm wearing a radiation suit. Is my radiation ticking up? Need to keep a close eye on my radiation, because if it's ticking up, this is a significant problem. Let's pop you down. You're my Mars one. Let's bind you to that. So you are now bound. So you're bound into dimension 29. You're bound into dimension 0. So yeah, you can do that. I don't think my radiation is ticking up. So okay, so I do have something that's now bound to Mars. Let's quickly check our journey map. That might be a dungeon there. So let's kind of head over here. So that's... where am I? That's this way. Doesn't look like my radiation is ticking up now. So this should be a dungeon? Maybe? No, this is where I dug the floor up. Okay. That's where I dug up the floor. Let's throw this stuff into my storage system as well as the dash. So that's why we came here. So yeah, I'm now going to be basically... I'll pause the recording, or I'll kind of skip through until I find a dungeon. And then we will come back, because my radiation seems stable. It doesn't look like it's going up at all. And now it is just a case of me exploring and looking for... well, first off, fallen meteorites, because yay, free iron. But also looking for a dungeon. Because that's the last thing, that's basically the thing we are after, is we're after a Mars dungeon. So I will see you all in a few minutes. Hello everyone, welcome back. So my radiation is going up, but really, really slowly. Like, I have been noticing my radiation ticks up extremely slowly. But we did manage to find a MARRRS dungeon. So we're going to see if we can't buzz through this reasonably quickly without taking too much radiation damage. Use my pickaxe for night vision. Oh, I'm definitely taking, like, rad damage. So we got slime eggs. Yeah, you can see I collected quite a few slime eggs while I was wandering around on the planet. Fluid pipe. Not sure where that came from. So let's grab you. Desh boots. Not sure if they're any good, but that's fine. Hopefully we get what we are looking for. Ooh. Creeper egg. So this guy is a creeper. He shoots TNT at you. You kind of have to knock it back so that it hits him. But if you're sort of standing level with the floor, it's kind of hard to do that because it kind of goes over his head. Pretty sure hitting him with a sword just doesn't work. Ooh, ooh. Oh, apparently just like standing this close to him and spam clicking. Okay, well we have enough armor that this isn't doing any damage to us, so I don't mind cheesing this fight slightly. Especially considering how long I've been sitting around, or sort of flying around looking for this. So there we go. The creepers aren't going to hurt me because I have an anti-creeper charm. I'm still going to just deal with them quickly. Now my magnet should have picked up the... Oh, do the explosions open creeper eggs? Ah, that makes sense. Magnet picked up the dungeon key. Excellent. So this should bring us down into the dungeon room. And this should have, if we're lucky, Tier 3 rocket schematic. Excellent. Perfect, 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 perfect. Got some fragmented carbon, but that's not important. Music, projectile protection, don't care about. Dash arm is interesting. We'll keep the schematic on us, and what I will do is I will grab some of this brick, because we can't make it, so we might as well grab some while we're here. You never know, we might unveil some dash, maybe. Nope, no dash. And as always, like, if we ever need a... Oh, that uncovered a cave that contains Mars slime and vines. Cavernous vines. Interesting. And lots of dash. So while we're here, let's just, you know, go around and grab lots and lots of dash. Because I have no idea how much dash I'm going to need, but the more dash I get now, the less likely I am to need to come back and get dash later. Up to 23. Your creeper egg that's fallen down here. Dash, 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 dash over here. Dash to the dash. 4. Again, I should probably be using some kind of silk touch for this, but... A little bit of block lag, but that's because I've generated a lot of terrain and I haven't closed the game since I generated massive amounts of terrain on Mars. I have no idea how much terrain I've generated on Mars, but it's not insignificant by any stretch of the imagination. I've generated probably a few thousand chunks on Mars to find this dungeon. So, yeah. Probably a few thousand chunks. Which, I don't have the best computer in the world, and I am running recording software at the same time, so I'm not massively surprised the game's a little salty with me for doing that. And I think this is the last bit of dash over here. There we go. And yeah, I think that's everything we need, so we can use our overworld charm to take us back to the overworld. Which isn't a problem at all. Like the overworld charm and the Mars charm, we can set up, basically we can set up a charm for every planet, and that means we, at the very least, don't have to fly to the planet repeatedly. Speaking of not having to fly to the planet repeatedly, that's the end of our Tier 2 rocket. The Mars dungeon brick's pretty cool. We've got some more unrefined dash that we can cook up. And now we can throw the Tier 3 schematic into here, and we can start having a look at what we need for Tier 3. Unlock this schematic. So Tier 3 is basically exactly the same shape as the other tiers. But we're looking at this Galacticraft planets. So we need heavy duty plate Tier 3, a heavy nose cone, heavy rocket fins, and a heavy rocket engine. So unlike the last one, which used the same fins, the same nose cone, and the same engine, this needs... Okay, so that's not too bad. We just need to use heavy duty plates, which are heavy duty plate Tier 2s. Ah, so we're going to need a lot of meteoric iron. So we're going to have to go back to the moon, probably set up a teleporter for the moon, and we're going to have to hunt down a lot of meteoric iron. Because we're going to need to make a lot of Tier 2 plates, because this is all Tier 2 plates put up to Tier 3, which means we need compressed dash, which isn't too hard. We've got a lot of dash. Dash is reasonably easy to mine. This is going to need Tier 2 plates. This is yeah, we're going to need a lot of Tier 2 plates. A lot of Tier 2 plates. The level 1 booster rockets is the same. Still need meteoric iron for that, but we're going to need to gather up a lot of meteoric iron, basically. In the meantime, I'm pretty sure this chunk has been loaded. So we have... Oh, we got a mica. We got a mica? That's only a tier 1. We're not supposed to be able to get mica from tier 1. And we've got 5 iridium crystals. So yeah, we're not being very lucky with the iridium crystals at the moment. Everything else, we're getting lots of. We're getting tungsten. We might even have some titanium. We've got iridium, boron, Certus quartz. So we've got plenty of stuff. We're just not getting massively lucky with the iridium. Unfortunately, the only way to increase that is to use the iridium to make an iridium... to make a thing to make sort of find us more. So I probably need another backpack to store my teleportation charms. For now, I will pop them in here. And we need to work on getting more meteoric iron, which means going back to the moon, which I have no problem with. Going back to the moon isn't a problem at all. I want to empty... Fine, whatever. I won't bother emptying the canister. I need to go back to the moon to find more meteoric iron. And yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult at all. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably do a live stream where I set this up in its own area. I'll be running those guys permanently. I'll head to the moon, get some more meteoric iron and get all of that up and running. Because at the moment we don't really have many heavy-duty plates at all. We've got some tier 1 and a couple of tier 2s. What have we got meteoric iron-wise? So we've got throwable meteor chunks. We've got meteoric iron 6. We've got 4, which is another 8 plates. We've got 2, which will go into 2 ingots, which is another 4 plates. So we've got, what? 12, 14, 15, 16 plates. Is there anything we can do with these to actually, you know, use them to make meteoric iron? Can make a hot throwable meteoric chunk. That's it. No, there's nothing else we can do with them. We can just heat them up. Which I assume does... I assume these are like basically thrown weapons, and the hot ones just do fire damage. Okay, so basically the next step I need to do is set up an area for my blood magic, go to the moon, grab a ton of meteoric iron, which is going to take ages. Keep these running to get more of, well, everything that we need. And, yeah, sleep when I have the opportunity to get rid of some of my radiation poisoning. So thank you all for watching. I have been the Gaming Droid. This has been Modern Skyblock 3, and I will see you all in another episode. Bye-zy-bye, everybody.